You're listening to Rolling Toe with trucking experts Kevin and Mike Beckett. This is the show where you ask the questions and we give you the diagnosis on how to get the most out of your truck. We'll talk about avoiding wear and tear, knowing your suspension and axles, and how to get more mileage from your tires. We're on the audio road. Let's get rolling.
Good evening. This is Mike.
And this is Kevin.
And we're back to give you nonsensical and completely useless information with regards to fuel emissions and mileage.
Fuel emissions?
Yeah.
Really?
Isn't that what we're doing?
Black smoke, is that, do we do anything?
I like black smoke. It looks cool.
It does.
Yeah. So we're going to do that today instead of tires.
Instead of tires, because why talk about things we know?
We know something about that? Okay, all right. We'll talk about tires if you insist. If you have a question or comment for us, please push 1 on your phone dial. That'll put you in the queue. Don't push it twice, because if you do, that erases you. We're more than happy to talk to whoever wants to talk to us. We're going to start off again tonight reading one of the posts I put on the social media. Last week we discussed loose components as a general discussion. Tonight, we're going to start off with loose wheel bearings. There are 3 types of bearings used in the North American truck market today. There's unitized, adjustable, and bearings with a spacer sleeve between the inner and outer bearings. Unitized and sleeve bearings are not adjustable. You simply tighten the adjustment nut to the prescribed torque setting, and the job's complete. Adjustable bearings, whether grease-packed or oil bath types, with a single nut or a double nut, require a complicated process to obtain the proper end play. The vast majority of wheel bearings are of the adjustable type, and in my experience, 80% are set too loose. This creates major tire wear issues in addition to grease seal leaks, ABS brake problems, vibrations, and irregular brake shoe wear. There seems to be an institutionalized fear of setting the bearings too tight, and as a result, the industry sets them too loose. Consider 2 facts in bearing adjustment. First is thread pitch. On most axles in North America, I can't speak for the rest of the world, there are 2 commonly used spindle threads, 12 threads per inch or 18 threads per inch. The standard bearing adjustment procedure directs the technician to tighten the adjustment nut to 200 foot-pounds to preseat the bearing and seal. Then to back off 1 revolution of the nut, followed by tightening the bearing to 50 foot-pounds, and then backing off a quarter to a half a turn depending on which instructions you read. It is then directed that you should use a dial indicator to check the wheel end play and ensure that you are within 1 to 5 thousandths end play. The difficulty is that with a 12-thread pitch, backing off 1 quarter turn will move the nut 21 thousandths, and half a turn will move it twice that much, to 42 thousandths. An 18-thread pitch moves the nut 14 thousandths in a quarter of a turn, and 28 thousandths in a half a turn. The second factor is weight. If you're installing a hub without drums, rims, or tires, the amount of torque required to zero the end play by compressing the tapered roller bearings is much less than if you loaded the assembly. And there are no distinctions in the installation instructions to allow for these variations. An empty or bare hub might weigh 30 or 50 pounds, while a drive or trailer wheel end with the duals mounted can weigh upwards of 600 pounds. 50 foot-pounds of torque should zero the end play on an empty hub, but there's no way that much force can lift and center the hub with the tires hanging on it. Even if you always adjusted the bearing with an empty hub, if you back off more than 5 thousandths, the bearing is too loose, and a quarter turn is at least 3 times the maximum end play specified. Combining these 2 factors in the field means that most wheel ends are too loose, and the result is tire wear and handling issues fall back on the alignment tech or get blamed on defective tires instead of the guy that adjusted the bearing. You got any comments on that?
Well, it's the one of the most common problems that we deal with that isn't specifically alignment related.
Yeah. Yeah, the second most common is underinflation on a steer tire.
True.
Yeah, between those two, loose bearings and inflation.
If you can just keep your bearings tight and your tires up, as long as the vehicle's aligned properly, you
Should
almost
be okay.
always have good life on your tires.
It's one of the major issues.
Yep.
Okay. What else do I know about that?
Nothing. You've never
You're right.
had anything to offer the
I've
discussion.
just run out of things
Plenty
to say
of
about
people
that.
would really rather that you just never speak of it again.
Why don't we just call off the show and go home now? I hear a beer calling my name. Oh, these guys want to listen to us.
Yeah,
there's
some
questions.
calls, there's questions.
Look at all these questions. All right, so let's start our phone area code game again.
The game is
And I have decided to focus on the provinces of Canada today.
the provinces of Canada, because they're probably all up there. All
Sure. So who we got for the first one?
214.
214. 214. I'm going to say Dallas.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. Okay. All right. Hello there. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Cool. Where's
It'd be
214 at?
It'd be Jamaica.
Jamaica. Yes.
Jamaican me crazy.
All
No,
right.
it's
I
Dallas.
like Jamaica.
It's Dallas Fort Worth, actually.
It is Dallas. I
Yeah.
thought 214 sounded familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
2014 388 Peterbilt.
Okay.
244,000 miles on it.
Uh-huh.
Car carrier. I regularly run at 14,500 on the steer axle, and just in the last few days, I'm getting the shaking the steering wheel. The right hand outside edge on the front tire is starting to wear off.
Mm-hmm. And are you running 275/80s on the front end?
295/60s Michelin.
60. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
295/60.
Yeah. And that's what everybody tends to run those car haulers, because they want to lower them down so they can fit the SUV that's sitting over the top of the cab underneath the bridge.
Uh-huh.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
And what inflation are you running in that front tire?
If it goes below 125, I air it up to 130. And it says 130 on the tire, 130 on the rim.
Okay. All right. So you're running as much as you can in that tire then. Does the truck have a bit of a right pull?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
Very
you.
slight.
Very slight
Yes,
right
it
pull.
pulls to the right. Yep.
Okay.
And how many miles are on the tires?
About 80, I think.
Well, you're breaking up pretty
out.
good.
Could you say that again?
About 80 on the tire. About 80,000 on the tires.
80,000. It's about half of what we'd like to get out of it. Have you rotated the tires at all?
I don't think I rotated these ones, but every other pair I'd rotated them. But what I do, because I have the same size tire on the drive axle, so if they start to get any funny wear on them, I take them off and I can finish them off on the drive axle. So the last couple of pairs I got 80,000 as a steer tire, and then I get about 80,000 more before they're worn out. So I still get 160 out of it.
Bad,
Per
but
mile.
each set of steer tires you're taking off, do they always wind up wearing on the outside edge of the right front tire?
Yes, but this time it's got, just in the last week, it's really started to shake. It's worse than it's ever been. Yeah.
Yeah, once the pattern starts, then that outside rib actually gets shorter than the ribs next to it. And it's the same thing as putting a tall tire next to a short tire in a dual, and the short tire wear fast. So you want to catch that just before it gets bad and move it, and then you'll have a good chance. I personally think your drive axles are not aligned quite where I want them, and it's allowing the truck to pull to the right, and it's taking the outside shoulder of the right front tire with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
just a little alignment issue, and then keep up on rotation at about every 60,000 miles.
Yeah, and I like the idea of bringing those drive position tires up and putting them on the steer, because in the drive they get hardened and square in the drive position, and the heat cures the rubber and helps them to resist the irregular pattern better. So that's not a bad process. But go ahead.
No, normally what I do, I put new ones on the front, and then I don't put the tires that are on the drives. I don't put them onto the steer axle. I put new ones on the steer axle, and then stick them back to the drives and finish them off. So.
Well, you know what we used to do years ago when we were having problems and we couldn't figure out how to make the tires wear good? We found that if we took brand new pair of steer tires and put them on the drive position for about 20,000 miles and then put them on the steer, we could get 50% more tire life out of the tire than if we put it on the steer right away, because the rubber was hardened and it resisted the irregular pattern better.
Oh, okay.
So just a suggestion.
Well, I'm going through North Carolina tomorrow. I see there's two shops listed on the MD alignment. They're both fairly close together. Is one better than the other, or flip a coin?
Coin, or whoever's got time for you.
Yeah, really, time is the big issue.
And I'd be willing to bet when they check it, the drives won't be exactly where we would like them to be. I think they're letting your truck pull to the right.
Yep.
Okay.
All righty, buddy. You have a good time in Jamaica.
I'll give that a shot. Thank you much.
You bet.
Thank you, man.
Put another shrimp on the Barbie. Oh, wait.
No. He's an Australian guy from Jamaica who lives in Dallas. Okay. I love this job. Okay, what do we got now?
801.
801.
That's familiar.
New Brunswick.
New Brunswick, Idaho.
Idaho, okay. All right.
Hello
there.
Hello.
What part of New Brunswick are you from?
The Mormon area called Utah in New Brunswick.
Utah, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. What's up?
My company just put me into a 2016 Peterbilt 579. And I'm already getting some squeak on the front end, and I'm starting to get worried about it, and I'm not really sure what to tell my company.
You got a squeak?
I mean, should I say
squeak?
Yeah, every time I hit a bump, I hear it. And last time I heard it, somebody tightened up my my U-bolts. So I'm wondering if it's that. I don't know any other things to tell you, but yeah, still hearing it.
The front end of the truck, if you're getting bumps and they're loose, I mean, you could have the shock. The shock skirt.
I can't be making noise.
I'm having an old man's brain fart. I can't remember what the term is for that cover that's over the shock. But if that shock is bent a little bit, it's squeaking every time you hit a bump. That's a possibility. It could be that some of the greasable fittings, now more and more they're going to rubber bushings on the leaf spring instead of greasable bushings. But if you've got greasable bushings and they're not greased right, you could get some squeak there. If you've got funny covers on the wheels and their covers are not properly attached, they can squeak as you hit bumps. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that it could be. I think the best solution would be to rip the Peterbilt logo off the front of the truck and put a Kenworth logo on, and that should take care of it.
Oh man, I'm not sure if the owner would like that too much.
You wouldn't like that, huh? Well, that's better than my second suggestion, because my second suggestion is a half a stick of dynamite in a fuel tank.
Oh man.
Slather everything in super glue.
Can I have someone else do that for me, so I'm not responsible for the damages?
Sure.
If park in the wrong neighborhood of town,
we can have.
The problem will take care of itself.
We can have Guido come visit you. That's not a problem.
Is there anything I can do to diagnose this while I'm going down the road?
The only suggestion I've got whenever I deal with squeaks, okay, first somebody's got to go underneath it with a hammer and an impact gun and some sockets and just make sure everything's tight. And then the second thing you do with squeaks is you carry a can of white grease, spray-on white grease or WD-40, and you just pick a particular component and you lubricate it, and then drive and see if the squeak's gone away. Nope, it's still there. Okay, pick another spot and lube it until you find what it is. It's really a silly way to do it, but I don't know any other way.
All righty. Well, it's still a good suggestion. I appreciate you.
Not a problem, buddy. You have a good time, and if we hear about a Peterbilt blowing up, we won't talk about you.
You don't. Yeah, you don't know my area code.
No. You're from Nova Scotia, so it's okay.
That's right.
All right, buddy. You have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. I really think it's going to end up being the shock personally. But
It could, silly as it sounds, it could even be a radiator bracket.
it could.
I mean, you just don't. I hate to think it's the hood, but I mean, I've heard hoods squeak when you go over bumps.
Also true.
I mean, there's just so much stuff in the front end of the truck that could squeak. I don't know what it is.
But yeah, there's no reason not to go ahead and tighten up your bolts.
Oh yeah, you check all the bolts first. That's the obvious safe thing.
Right.
Once you got the safety stuff out of the way, then just go out there with a can of lube and start spraying things and drive it. If you see where something's rubbing, spray a little lube in there and drive it some more. Does it squeak again? Yeah, it still squeaks. Well, that wasn't it. Pick another one.
It's somewhere.
Okay, very good.
All right. Well, we've got
Utah,
Dallas, or Nova Scotia.
Right.
New Brunswick.
And then the guy wants to go to Jamaica. Who do we got next?
804.
That's not next to 801, is it?
It's at least a couple away.
Like at least a couple. Your pick.
With the Canadians in mind, I'll go with British Columbia.
Okay, I'm going to go to Carolina.
All right.
So see, I'm being sneaky there because I get two
Didn't
states
say
for
north
one.
or south,
Yeah.
Two for.
Hello there.
Hello.
How you doing? Hello.
Good. And you just did you just bash Kenworth? Did I hear you say Peterbilt to Kenworth and then stick dynamite in it? I know I didn't hear that properly, and it's Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. All right, Virginia.
Close, no cigar.
No cigar.
No cigar for
What's
you.
up?
Well, actually, in listening, I've had a couple things going on, but mainly I do have a Kenworth. It's a 660, and I have the Michelin XZ A3 on the steer and the X-Line Energy D on the drives. There's 70, let's see, I forgot already, 76,000 miles on them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the not the Centromatics, but the Balance Masters put on all around.
Another brand. Yeah, that's fine.
Pardon?
No. Yeah, Balance Master is a competitor to Centromatic. They do basically the same concept, so that's fine.
Right. Okay. When I was talking to them, they said these were using liquid and were turning out better results, and they have a lifetime guarantee. So that's why I was kind of looking at those. But what I was asking is, and we're talking about rotation because I get, of course, opinions are everywhere, and I thought rotation would be good, and then I'm told it doesn't do any good, like rotating the steers. Everybody tells me don't rotate the steers, but you guys just talked about that, and so when I was going to put these on, I was even thinking about like a crisscross rotation on the drives because they're good tires, they're expensive, and I'm obsessive about them, and I want them to last. So is that a good idea for steers and drives, and when or how often, etc.?
It's always recommended. The Maintenance Council of American Trucking Association has guidelines for that kind of process too, and we agree with them. What happens is one front tire will tend to wear just a little faster than the other front tire. And if you carry a tread depth gauge, and when one front tire, it's usually the left, gets 2/30 seconds more worn than the right, switch them side to side. Now, the Michelin tires you got on them have arrows on them, and they're directional tires.
Right.
But it's only directional when you first put the tire on. They need to run in the correct direction to harden them so that they resist regular wear. After 70,000 miles or 30,000 miles, if you want to rotate them, don't take them off the rim. Just switch them side to side. and run them the other way until you get the same kind of difference in wear, and then switch them again. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and that was my
Okay.
thought to begin with.
Right.
Everybody just told me, I just keep getting the no. It doesn't make any difference. Well,
Yeah. Now, on the drive tires, the rear drive axle normally wears faster than the front drive axle. So again, with your tread depth gauge, when the rear axle is 4/30 seconds more worn than the front, X rotate your drive tires. And again, even if you have a directional drive from Michelin, when you rotate them, don't take them off the rims, just X them from the right front to the left rear and from the left front to the right rear, and run them that way until they even back out or get a little faster on the rear, and then you X them again.
okay, good. Yeah, that's good to know. And like I said, I'm getting ready to do the wheel balancers, and the miles on them is 76,000. Is that a good time to do it while everything is off? Because they're not really wearing. I don't see any funky wear. The tread depth, they're all a little bit different, but visually it all looks good.
Yeah, no. If you're going to take the wheels off, put the balancers on, and I also advocate putting balancers on the drives too. Now, whether you want to take all that stuff at the same time, or if you just want to do the steers first and the drives later, that's okay.
I was going to do it all the way around.
Perfect. Good, perfect time to do it. Just when you pull them off, put them back together with the balancers on it.
Okay, great. Now, one more quick question. When I'm doing that, I use the centering. When you're mounting the tire and you have the centering bolts.
Yes, I like those.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I carry those with me because, believe it or not, there's places that don't have them nor know what I'm talking about, which blows me away. But then I just recently looked and saw that they have internal centering spacers, the little ones. Are those necessary with the wheel balancers or no?
No, you don't need them with the balancers. The pieces that you've got will center them up. The only thing the internal ones do more than what you've got is they also center the drum. The one you've got won't center the. Okay.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So
the ones I have just center the wheel. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. It's a very nice step. I have no problems with what you're talking about doing.
Air pressure on all of them. I've been running 110 and everything.
Well, 110 in the rear is about 30 psi overinflated, which doesn't bother me at all. And with that much overinflation in the rear, you do get better rolling conditions, so you get better fuel economy. You get a little smaller footprint, so under emergency conditions, you may not have as big a footprint to stop the truck as you would like. 110 on the steer is the minimum inflation. You're running 110 on the back, which is overinflated, but you're running just barely enough air in the steer. Now, when you step on the brakes, you had a lot more weight on the steer axle than when you went over the scale. And I recommend an extra 10 pounds in the steer tires. I would like to see them at 120. The rear can be anywhere from 100 to 110, and that's fine.
Okay, good. Good to know. Great. Well, thank you very much. And I'm keeping my Kenworth symbol on my truck.
Well, the recommendation I have for Kenworth is you take the label off and you put a Western Star label on it.
Oh, that's okay. I'll work on that. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate all you do.
No problem. Have a good day. Colin. Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Virginia's fine. I can accept that. We got to talk about balancing. We got to talk about rotating. We got to talk about inflation.
Yeah.
We should charge her. I want to charge her triple for that phone call.
Why do you suppose it is that we haven't had to talk about bearings?
I don't know, because it's what we started with.
That's what it is what we started with.
I'm glad we don't get hung up on that.
Right, but as everybody who's called so far,
I don't know.
all pack cars?
I don't know.
Sure.
Was it? I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to figure out where they were from. Okay, all right. The next one is definitely going to be from Manitoba. What area code is it?
770.
Oh, that's Georgia.
Georgia. Oh, well,
I'm almost positive it's Georgia,
right.
But I want it to be from Manitoba.
I'm gonna put up Manitoba.
All right, Manitoba. All right.
So,
can you hear me now?
Yes.
What?
Georgia.
Georgia.
It's in the Georgian part of
the Georgian part of Manitoba. Is this
Georgia,
the Georgia that
Manitoba,
had all
you got it.
Did you have a lot of flooding there? I saw TV that was flooding in Georgia.
Yeah, like escaped zoo animals.
No, I haven't.
That
Not. They're getting a lot of rain. Yeah, certain parts of it got hit hard. I think down in the Atlanta area.
I think this Georgia is by Russian. The different Georgia. So what can we do for you?
Wanted your recommendation for. I need to get a set of drives on one axle drive tires, and I would like your suggestion as to what I should look for that isn't going to cost me a fortune and would give a reasonable.
I'm hearing about a half of every word you're saying. You're breaking up real bad.
Okay, can you hear me
might
better
be
now?
I can hear you.
Okay, what I want is a suggestion for a set of drive tires that won't break the bank and still give me a reasonable fuel economy.
A suggestion for a set of drive tires. Now, is this for line haul or for local?
Line haul.
Line haul, drive tires. Okay,
Drive tires.
Yeah, Kevin always likes the Michelins, and they're fine, and they get good fuel economy, and we'll get good mileage out of them. Continental makes a very good line haul drive tire that I've gotten really good results out of.
Isn't Yokohama's pretty good too?
Yokohama, one model of Yokohama is good. Okay, I'd have to dig through it and see which one it was. I can't remember right now.
Okay.
Yeah, the wrong one will give you trouble anyway. Bridgestone, the 710, I've seen some pretty good results out of it, and that's a low rolling resistance tire. So there are several of them that'll do good. But what I've seen that causes me more problems with drive tires is if the wheel bearings aren't properly tightened, and then the inside edge of the inside tire by the frame cups.
Is there
The problem?
is there any
I guess the
deal?
Go ahead.
Out there. Is there any specific problem that you're dealing with the drive tires that you need to address?
No, there's nothing that I can see. What's on there now is just getting worn. I need to get them changed fairly soon. That's basically it. No, I haven't seen anything nothing that I can notice wrong with it really.
Okay, well, with that in mind, my final decider of which one I'm going to buy is which dealer am I going to deal with, what tire is he selling. I want somebody that's going to treat me right and take care of me if I have some issues. So do you have a regular tire dealer, or are you going to buy this at a truck stop?
I don't have any regulars. That's why I'm asking you. I don't have anybody like that lined up at all. I'm very new to this game. But I would be open to suggestions. Like I said, I'm based in Georgia, but I travel around a bit through to the Midwest.
And you drive all over the place?
Over to the Midwest and back to the Southeast, pretty much.
There's a tire dealer organization down in the South called McGriff Tire.
I was about to recommend that.
Yeah. McGriff Tire has locations in Alabama and Tennessee, and I've had good luck with them. I like those people.
What do they carry?
They carry several brands. They're an independent.
So
yeah.
Okay, well, I looked them up and give them a call. I appreciate that, guys.
Not a problem, buddy. You have yourself a good day.
Yep.
And you. Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Okay.
There's how many other tire dealers?
I've got a whole. I'm sure.
So many.
Yeah, I could go through the list, but right here on the phone, not computer in front of me. What do I do? Well, the guy whose hat I'm wearing right now. Well, that's McGriff Tire. So there you go.
There's Fountain Tire, but
they're in Western Canada.
There's Royal Tire, but one of them.
Yeah, we won't talk about that guy. But Royal Tire up in Minnesota, they're good people.
Tire, yeah.
We do some work with GCR Tire out west.
Out west, we do, yeah.
We're starting
to get us into others.
Starting to do more and more with McGriff or with GCR.
Right.
Yeah, there's
there's on our website. There's a few tire dealers listed on there
that have our stuff.
Yeah.
So that'd be one way to do it too.
Right.
Okay, who do we got next? How long have we been at this? I'm tired.
We've been at it for a half hour.
No wonder I need a nap. These guys are wearing me out. What do you got?
This isn't.
Yeah, it is. What's the phone number?
Okay, 719.
719. Oh, that's British Columbia.
British Columbia. Okay.
Yeah, that's right next to Jamaica.
Next to Jamaica and British Columbia.
Well, right.
All right, you go with that. I'll say Texas.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. And actually, it's Colorado, so you should have guessed Alberta.
Well, Colorado, the mountains go right up into British Columbia, so that's all the same group.
Well, actually, they go down because when you get to Canada, they're much lower than they are in Colorado. Anyway, two things real quick. First off, the RY617 Yokohama is the number that you were searching for. It's I've run 4 different sets of them on a Freightliner, and they get good fuel mileage. They're not as expensive as some, and they wear really good. But
okay,
don't put them on your steer axle. But for a drive tire, they're excellent. It's at the all-position Yokohama.
Okay.
Kind of cautionary tale for you, which kind of, I guess it backs up you and Kevin talking about putting checking the run out on steer tires. Well, any tire actually, after you have a new set of tires put on, because I was in a situation where I switched steer tires, aluminum to aluminum, but the True Balance centering sleeves on the front were not the correct size for the second set of rims. And we just we could not figure out what was wrong. I went into your shop there in Denver, and it would go from an 1/8 inch toe in to a 1/4 inch toe out to a 1/16 in to a half out, and could not figure it out. Well, he didn't even think about, and I didn't think about it either, to put a dial indicator on there and see whether we had a problem there. And that's actually what had happened, because when they changed the tires, it was like, oh, this ain't going on so good. Well, crank the air up on the gun and just get them in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is a critical step, is checking the run out on those tires when you got them mounted up.
And the drum were not flat up against the backing plate when he tightened the nuts, so the whole thing was wobbling down the road like a rim.
Actually, we had to have a wheel puller to get the wheels off, because what it did was it pressed the True Balance sleeve into basically put a square peg in a round hole.
Right. Right.
And we had to have them taken off with a wheel puller. But anyway,
gotcha.
Enjoy listening to the show.
Thank you, sir. We'll try to keep it amusing.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. Take care. Bye.
You have a good time in British Columbia. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay. All right. Colorado. If he insists. 719, is that what that was?
719.
I'll remember that. I don't know what happened, but they cut us off and we're back on the air.
Yeah, that's a whole other game we get to play.
Yeah, you get through this, and then halfway through the phone cuts you off, and then you have to start again. So we're back again. We talked to 4 people since the guy in Colorado. They really had interesting things to say, but you'll never get to hear them because we were off the air.
For those whole 30 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay, what do we got here?
We got the 918 area code.
918, Alberta.
Alberta. You want Alberta?
I'm Alberta.
Let me stick with Texas.
Alberta, Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Cool. Where are you from in Alberta?
The southern part, the Oklahoma part.
The Oklahoma part of Alberta. Okay, buddy. What can we do for you?
Well, I talked to you guys a while back. I was running some super single Michelins on my trailer, and I was getting some weird wear out of them. And anyhow, I have since blown 3 of those with about 80% tread on them, so I've been replacing them with Bridgestones. I think it was the R135 or something. Got the real wide, solid shoulder on it. Mm-hmm. And they're all wearing really good except for the right front. And I probably never heard of my trailer. It's a 2015 Antares. It's a 48-102 flatbed. It's got the 5-way slider axles. I can slide the front and rear into any position I want, close, spread, whatever.
Yeah.
and it's got a little bit of slop side to side when I turn. I've noticed that, and I try to run them in a closed position as much as possible. But the right front, I just noticed this morning. I was going around there, and I thought the inside shoulder looked a little odd, and it doesn't look out of a line, but the way it's wearing, I almost expect to look in the mirror and see the tire pointed out at about 10 or 15 degrees. Halfway out on the inside shoulder towards the inside edge of the tire, it's wearing it down extremely fast. I'm going to guess in about 5,000 miles, it's probably worn it down maybe a third to a half of the tread. And it's just about a half inch in from the outside. It's wearing that little bitty, I don't know what that little rib is, and then that first shoulder block, but it's almost like it's dragging the tire sideways. It looks
okay,
like.
now, if you lay your hand flat on that tire, on the tread, and slide your hand toward the frame and then pull your hand back out, is it smooth both ways, or is it rough going in and smooth coming out?
Like, is it cupped or, well,
for feathered wear?
It's that one rib. The rest of the tire's good.
Okay, all right. If it's not feathered, then the high probability is the wheel bearing's loose.
Okay, I was just going to ask about that. But the wheels I'm running are I've been running the takeoffs that the big companies have been throwing away because, you measure them one way and it's 9.5, maybe it's 8.5 or 9 inches to the outside edge of the wheel. You turn it around and it's 6.5. So I've been turning them around. So it's the 6.5 part is out. So they don't stick out so far. They stick in, if that makes sense.
So they're sticking in, which is better because you're not flexing the axle and you're not overloading the outer bearing. So you've got the 2.5 inch offset rims, but you've got them turned around inward, which is the correct thing to do.
Yeah.
Now, there's two other possibilities. You said these are throwaway rims, right? Somebody else is getting rid of?
Yeah. I had them checked for, I had them spin them and they look straight. I've rolled them. They look straight. I've spun them on the wheel, jacked the wheel up, and they're not out of round.
But here's the two possibilities. One, and this is what we hope it is, it's a wheel bearing. You jack up that one wheel position, you have the brakes released, you just grab the top of the tire with both your hands and push in as hard as you can and pull back out, and if it goes click, click, the bearing's loose. Okay?
Yeah.
And that means that needs to be adjusted. But the second possibility, the way you've got the rim turned around, the unsupported bell of the rim is toward the inside, right?
Yes.
If this throwaway rim had been abused and the rim has actually crushed just a little bit, that means the inside diameter of that tire is smaller than the outside diameter, and it's the same thing as having a tall tire, short tire.
Yeah.
Okay? So the way you test that, when you finally pull that tire off, let's say you check the bearings aren't loose, okay, I got to keep driving this. You finally get to the point you're going to replace the tire. Take the tire off the rim, have the rim standing on its edges on a reasonably flat floor, and just roll the rim away from you. Now, if the rim is perfectly rounded, it should roll straight. But if it rolls toward that unsupported bell side, then bring it back. That might have been downhill, right? So you bring it back, you turn the rim around the other way, push it away from you again. If it again turns in the opposite direction, you've got a rim that's not the same diameter on the both bead seats.
Yep.
Okay.
So even though it's round.
Is that, when you say abused, like they had a flat or something and drove it on it?
Yeah. Usually what happens is they get a little too much heat. A brake lock up and you get too much heat, and then the aluminum actually shrinks.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Because I was going to say I inspected the lips there, and none of the lips had any markings like they'd been rolled with weight on them. No.
Yeah, all of that could look fine, and that thing still could have shrunk.
Right.
Okay.
So maybe it's the bearing. Just
hopefully it's the bearing. Then it's just an adjustment.
Yep.
But if it's
Okay,
not, then you
now-
got to check that rim.
Now, you were talking about wheel bearings at the start of the show, so now I have a wheel bearing question.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a 2009 W900, or 2009, a 2003 that's been sitting out in the pasture for 7 years, and we put a lot of work into it, and I've been concerned about the oil in the hubs, especially on the front. You know, I've changed the oil in the rear diffs, but do I have to pull that wheel completely off, take the wheel seal out, you know, spray it out to clean all the oil out, or can I just pull the cap off the outside?
Well,
the
pulling
hub oil cap off.
if you want to change in a trailer hub, you have to take it off because there's a well in the middle that you won't get the oil out of.
Yes.
Now the question is there a good reason to replace the oil?
Well, other than the fact that the truck sat for 7 years, I figured it'd be nice to have some fresh hub oil in there, but
you've never replaced the grease seals either in 7 years?
The truck sat. It didn't move. I just bought it 3 months ago. I'm sorry, and I got it on the road a month ago. And I replaced one wheel seal was leaking, but other than that, I haven't had a chance to get to the wheel bearings yet, except for changing the oil in the differentials.
Okay, all right. I would undo the plug in the diff. I'd put my finger in there. I'd try to put a suction of some kind in there, pull a little oil sample out, look at it, and make a decision whether I have to replace the oil based on that. Okay? If the oil looks good in the diff, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I've already done that. I've changed it twice because I assume it got some of the older oil in there and discolored it. So it's like, well, oil's cheap. So I've changed it twice, and I've got about 10,000 miles on the new oil change in the differentials, and it's still clean. I just didn't know what to do about the front. If I need to pull the front wheels off, the hubs and everything, knock the wheel seal out, clean them up good, or whether I could just pull that outside cap off and then put it back on and fresh oil in it that way.
Here's what I would do for the front wheels. Jack the wheel up, put a piece of duct tape on the inner lip of the rim, and then a second piece of duct tape to make a bit of a funnel. Cut off the bottom of an antifreeze bottle so it's nice, clean, and white. Pull the cap off, the oil running out the little bit of the duct tape funnel, drop into that cap, into that bottom. You could inspect the oil. If the oil looks good, doesn't look like it's contaminated, no metal flake in it, all I do is put the cap back on and refill it. If there's any contamination in that, then I tear it apart.
I don't see any contamination like water or metal shavings. It's just old and discolored.
Oil does not get bad. Oil gets dirty.
Okay.
So if you're not seeing any metal flake or contamination, there's no reason to replace that oil.
Okay. Now, if I don't, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my trailer wheel bearings this weekend, but when I go ahead and I might as well just adjust them all. Now you guys have me worried because everybody I know backs them off a quarter of a turn.
Right.
So I don't know if I have the 12 or the 18 thread count. Should I just take the brake drums off and do it by feel?
If you will go to our website, there's a way there that you can send us an email inquiry. Ask us about our torque settings. We will respond with a chart that we use on how we set bearing adjustments. And you just need a little cheap torque wrench to set them with, and it'll set them okay.
Oh, okay. I don't need because I see those guys when I guess you said about 50 foot-pounds though, right?
Yeah, you just need a little 3/8 drive torque wrench and put some adapters on it up to the big sockets, and that's what I used for years, and it works fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So just go onto your website and email you?
Go to the website, email us on our website, and tell them you'd like the torque settings for the bearings, and we'll email it back to you. It's no big deal.
Okay. Now, do I need to know the manufacturer of the axle or anything before I do that?
No. Everything you need to know.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
And that one was actually about bearings.
Yeah, it was. It was. We did get one about bearings. Isn't that fabulous? It's not letting us get off of that call, is it? We think we're off. There we are. Now we're off. Okay. All right. How long have we been on this?
We got 15 minutes and we got 5 calls.
Is it time for a coffee break?
We don't get this.
We don't get coffee breaks. I want to complain to the union. Where's this guy from?
That jerk of a boss you've got.
That jerk of the boss. That's the guy I want to talk to.
This.
What do we got?
Oops, I hit the go button, but it's 956.
956. Oh, Manitoba.
Texas.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I can
Cool.
hear you.
What part of Manitoba are you from?
I'm way down in the northern Mexico part of Manitoba.
The New Mexico part? You're down there where they drink tequila.
Oh, heck. How are you guys tonight, buddy?
We're doing pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, quick question for you, Mike. And maybe I just get too picky. I just wanted your opinion about something. This truck here, it's a 08 Freightliner Classic. And I'm actually I get good tire wear, but ever since I've had it, how can I say this? My other truck I run before this, I could get out of the seat. Now this is just a joke. Go back in the bunk, make lunch, come back, sit down, and my truck would be right where I left it.
Yep.
This truck has never been that way. I mean, I get good wear, I do, and I've asked the alignment guys, and they're like, "Oh, it's just the road, it's the wind." I was like, "Oh, is that true, or is there?" I mean, if I let go of the steering wheel in 10 seconds, it's going to be going off the road.
It always goes to the right. It always goes to the right.
It always does.
Are you wearing the outside of the right front tire and the inside of the left front tire?
Say that again, please.
Are you wearing the outside of the right front tire and the inside of the left front tire?
Kind of very, like right now, the only thing I see at all on my right side tire, there isn't any, so to speak, wear. There's one or two little spots about the size of a quarter where you can see just a little tiny bit of like cupping on the inside of the outside rib. About, maybe about the size of a nickel. You'll see just a little tiny spot there.
And how long did you say it takes to get to the white line on this one?
Is it about 10 seconds?
10 seconds on this one.
Is that right?
Yeah, probably
so that's
about
a drift.
10. I mean, it's just a slow gradual, but as soon as you let go, it starts. It starts eating its way over.
I could set your truck to go to the left or go dead straight in the right lane. Okay? But if I set your truck absolutely perfect for the right lane, when you get in the left lane, it's going to pull left.
Okay.
I have to set it to counter the crown of the road.
That's the force that's pushing you to the right all the time.
Correct. Now, do you rotate your steer tires at all?
Yes, I do.
When you rotate your steer tires, does the truck handle better for a while and then go back to the right again?
To be honest with you, no. Okay. Mostly I do it. I probably actually rotate them. It's just habit, I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about they get 100. I like to get 200,000 miles out of my steers.
Okay, if you're getting 200,000 miles out of your steers and rotating the steers doesn't improve the handling, I've got to agree with the guys that that's just the way this truck drives.
Yeah.
And anything I do is probably going to get you worse tire life than you're getting now, and I really wouldn't recommend you do it.
Okay, I just wondered. I just kind of wanted. There must be something. Like I said, I try to seek perfection almost.
I think you're in the range where you're pretty damn perfect. I wouldn't fuck around with it.
Yeah. Hey,
I did.
While I have you, Mike, because is you got one thing, and you might ask me why. What you guys? I've had people tell me you guys have an alignment shop in Dallas. Is that correct?
We got one in Fort Worth, yeah. There's another one in Dallas, yeah.
How do I get the? Is it just under MB alignment, or how do I get a? If I just wanted to, sometime, probably want to put on a new set of steers, I was going to let you guys give the truck just a look.
Okay, there's a shop in Gallup, New Mexico that has our equipment too. What you do is you go to our website, mdalignment.com,
Okay.
and go to the shop locator tab and pick a state, and it'll give you the shops in that state that have our equipment.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Okay?
Hey, well, listen, I appreciate your time.
Not a
Have
problem, buddy. You have a good day.
Thank you. Now.
Bye-bye. Right.
Thanks for calling. Yeah, I did have a guy that called there that I was doing alignment for, and he was to the point. He said, "Listen, this is great. You're doing great, but after a mile, I have to grab the steering wheel again."
After a mile.
I can't do anything more about that. I can't.
No,
I'm sorry.
You're at the limit. Sorry. Can't get any better than that. Okay, how long have we been on this?
We got 8 minutes left here.
8 minutes left. We got a lot of calls. I don't think we're going to get to them all, but let's get to everybody we can. Who's this guy?
856.
856. Ontario.
Sure. I'll agree with you.
New Jersey, Ontario.
New Jersey, Ontario. All right, very good.
So you were close.
Yeah.
My question, it's actually for my mom. She drives the truck, but we're going in it together once she has it paid for. She's doing a lease. And she doesn't have the balancers on her truck at all. And I've heard a lot of people say they're good to have. And I was wondering if you prefer the best ones, because she has the super singles on the back, the XP Energy. And I was wondering if it was better to go with the beads or the mounted ones. I call them the pie pan type ones. They kind of look like a pie pan.
They do.
Okay. The difference between the two is a toss of a coin and your decision on how much you want to invest up front. The pie plans, which is Centromatics or Balance Masters, cost more up front, but they just stay with the truck. The beads you pay for each time you do the tires, so you're paying a lot less money each time.
Okay. So you got to change the beads every time you change the tires.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
They're both dynamic balancers. Just like my dentist always says, when it comes to floss, I don't care if you're using the mint or the wax or the unwaxed, just as long as you're actually flossing.
Right. Yeah, I've heard people talk about the beads are better, and then I've heard people talk about the pan ones are better. So I didn't know which ones to go with, because we got to put tires on soon, and I figure while they're off, we'll get the balancers and put on as well.
Well, let's look at it this way. You can haul rocks in a wheelbarrow, or you can haul rocks in a Ford or a Chevy. Now, arguing which one's better than the wheelbarrow between a Ford and a Chevy is a toss of a coin.
That's,
Right. Okay.
At least it's not a wheelbarrow.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
You bet, buddy. Have a good day.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. New Jersey.
All right, 770.
Oh, that's Georgia. We've been there.
Yeah, we've already.
We were there tonight.
Is he calling back?
Hello, Georgia.
We've already talked to you.
Hello.
There's no other callers in Georgia, are there?
I don't know.
Well, at least you actually guessed I'm not in Canada, that's for sure. Question I had, you mentioned air pressure on the drives. I run super singles, and I was wondering what air pressure you recommend for that position.
Air on super singles is completely different than air on duals, okay? You've got about 8,500 to 9,000 pounds on each super single tire, all right? And if you look at the chart for that, it probably requires 100 to 105 pounds pressure to carry that much weight, okay?
I'm running 130.
Pardon? You're running
100.
You're overinflated, which is fine. Now, if the overinflation is causing a problem, and I haven't found anybody yet that's having a problem with overinflating on super singles, it should be wearing on the shoulders of the tires. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that what you're seeing, or are you wearing good and flat?
I'm good and flat for the most part. I've
Good.
got about 100,000 miles in the tires right now. Probably should do rotate them though, huh?
I would recommend monitoring the depth of the tires, front axle to back axle. Normally, the back axle will wear faster. When it is 30 seconds more worn than the front drive axle, X them.
Yeah. Okay. And I also have the 2-inch insets, which I have them the wrong way. Should I do switch them around at this time also, or?
I would recommend you flip them if you're having a problem. Now, if everything is wearing right, you're not getting inside edge wear and stuff, you could leave them where they are.
Yeah,
but I don't like 2-inch offset rims with them sticking out. It's just you're extending your axle length 4 inches. You're putting the load on the outside bearing. The axle will flex more into weight. It's really not a good application. Now, if you want to flip them around, the problem is you have to change the valve stem and stick it out through the little holes in the rim so that you can air them up, which means you're going to have to deflate it, take the tires off, and change the valve stem before you can put them back on.
Okay. So I might wait to do that until the tires wear out.
Yeah, my philosophy is it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
Yep.
these tires, I haven't had the air. I have the gauge that monitors the air pressure in the tires and the dash that they sell. I haven't had to add air to these tires in.
That's great. That's great. Now, I would say just keep running them, rotate them once in a while, but watch the wear, okay?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for calling. All right. That was
Okay.
Georgia 2. It's
Georgia
right next
2.
to, I think, Peoria 2.
Peoria 2, yeah. And anybody who's driven up Interstate 74 coming west toward Illinois, you'll see a sign that says Peoria 2 is ahead.
Peoria 2.
Yeah, Peoria, II, Illinois. whatever.
IL.
II. What's the area code we got now?
803.
803. 803. 803.
We had 801 and we had 804.
Now we got 803. British Columbia.
There was Salt Lake and what was it? Virginia.
Yeah.
And now we've got 803. You say British Columbia?
Yeah.
I got to go between Salt Lake and Virginia. I'm going to go with Illinois.
Illinois. Okay, let's see what we got. All right. Hello
Hello,
there.
gentlemen. Hello,
How you
gentlemen
doing?
from North South Carolina, Canada.
South Carolina, part of Canada.
North of South Carolina, Canada.
Okay, cool. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I know y'all getting ready to end the show, but I got 1,072,000 miles on my Freightliner Century, and my wheel bearings seem to be running good on the front of my truck. Should I change these wheel bearings?
I'm sorry, I missed that. You
cut out a little bit right there at the end, and it lost the meaning.
I got 1,072,000 miles on this Freightliner Century, and I'm wondering, do I need to put new wheel bearings on the front?
Do you, or do you want to?
I'm worried. I'd rather. I don't want to be.
You don't want to break
I
it
guess
down.
I want to. Yes, sir.
Now, are we talking on the steer axle or on the drive axle? It's real easy. You jack up one side at a time. You spin the wheel as fast as you can get it going with your hands. Just give it a good shot, and then put your hand on the air brake chamber right behind the wheel. If the bearing is bad, you'll feel a vibration in your fingers, and that means it's got to come out. Yeah. If you don't feel any vibration, the bearing is not bad. The next step, like I explained to an earlier listener, is put a couple pieces of duct tape on the lip of the rim, a nice clean cup to catch the oil in, take the cap off, inspect the oil, make sure it's good. If everything is good, then don't take them out, because if they ain't broke, don't fix them.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the show.
I think he said affirmative, but I couldn't. It broke up.
Yeah, it did break up again.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Enjoy the show.
Not a
All
problem,
right.
buddy. You have a good day.
Calling.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, we got two more. Let's try and get to them.
All right.
They've been hanging in there.
937.
937, Ontario, Canada.
Texas.
Okay.
All right.
937, where you at? Hello?
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Well, we're going to put him back over here.
Okay.
And we're going to go to this one, 918.
918. I'm going to stick with Quebec.
Quebec, you're sticking with Quebec. Okay, I'll go Tennessee.
Okay. Hello there.
Is it Quebec or Tennessee? Which one? Final answer.
I want Quebec.
Close.
Mine's
It's Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Second Oklahoman today. All right. What can we do for you, buddy?
Well, are you guys familiar with the microblue bearings?
We're familiar with the concept. I have no opinion on whether the bearings themselves do anything because I don't have any training in that area. The only objection I've got to microblue is that their installation procedure, I believe, leaves them too loose.
Yep. That's it.
That was my question because I bought the bearings, handed them to the mechanic, said follow the instructions to the T, and then I figured I'd call the experts, and you would tell me whether or not I need to tighten them up or loosen them up. I haven't noticed any substantial gain.
I have our business as far as fuel, but if you wanted to know whether or not the bearing is loose, as far as we're concerned, now that it's driven a few miles, jack it up and grab the top of the tire. This, if we're talking about steer, is that right?
I put them all the way around, but yeah.
You can start with the steers, jack it up one wheel at a time. Grab the top of the tire and just push in and out as hard as you can. If you hear a click, 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 it's loose.
Yep. And if that's the situation, if you can do it, you know that the road and the weight of the truck are beat. That's going to cause tire wear.
If they are too loose, how much do I tighten them up? And if they are loose, do I go ahead and do the drives?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there's a video on our website. You can go to mdalignment.com.
Yep.
Go to our video library, and there's a video on there on how we check and adjust wheel bearings. So you could look at that video and see how we check steers and how we check rears, and it's real easy once you see it done. All righty?
A pleasure and a privilege. Thank you very much, guys.
You have a great day.
Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Well, folks, you have wasted another... Huh? Let's try him. Let's try him, yeah.
Last time, see if he's actually there. Can you hear us now?
Hello, caller from Quebec. Nobody's there.
No.
Ontario.
All right.
Well,
no. Might be a microphone problem or...
Yeah. Folks, I appreciate you listening. You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to As the Stomach Churns. We will try this again next week. And thank you for your patience and have a great week.
Yep. Good luck out there.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Rolling Toe. If you like what you heard here, leave us a rating and review on iTunes or listen to our other shows at audioroad.letstruck.com. To get in touch with our tribe, call us at 855-800-FUEL. That's 855-800-3835. Thanks for joining us for the ride down the audio road.